I have a lot of memories with the Wii U, because let's be honest, even though the console did not do very well sales-wise, it had a lot of great experiences. Many of these games were so good, to the point that they warranted ports and remasters on the Nintendo Switch. Mario Kart 8, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Pikmin 3, and many more games reported to the Switch. However, there is one game on the Wii U that never got a Switch port, despite being a fantastic game, and that is none other than Yoshi's Woolly World. This game was released at a time when the Wii U had already run its course pretty much. 2015 was a very strange time for the console. I mean, we got some great games like Super Mario Maker, Splatoon, and Xenoblade X, but these all seemed like a last-ditch effort to make the Wii U a worthwhile purchase. Yoshi's Woolly World was a part of this lineup as well, and it looked really good. This just looked like a very charming and fun 2D platformer, and since the game was being made by the same guys who made Kirby's Epic Yarn, everyone had high hopes. So in late 2015, I got it for my birthday, played the first few levels, and never touched it again. It's not that I didn't like the game or anything, I really enjoyed what I played, but you have to understand that back in 2015, I was like 10. I wanted to play something exciting, not this cutesy relaxing baby bullshit. But recently, I decided to sit down and play it from start to finish, and to say I was missing out is definitely an understatement. This game is fantastic for numerous reasons, so let's talk about it. This game looks f***ing immaculate, bro. Everything in this game is made out of wool, yarn, and other materials. For one, it gives the game a unique identity by presenting an art style that both fits the vibe of the game and makes it look good, and for two, it offers new ways of implementing the different game mechanics and stage gimmicks. It just looks so eye-catching. Nintendo has several good-looking games, but it's just impressive to me how they made this premise of having everything in the game made out of yarn, and they made it look visually appealing as well. I don't really know how else to describe it. The actual gameplay in itself is very engaging. It borrows several elements from previous games in the Yoshi series, but it also introduces new mechanics. Similar to other games, Yoshi can eat enemies to turn into eggs, or well, yarn balls in this case. Once he has some yarn balls, he can throw them at enemies and objects. And I, for one, absolutely adore the idea of using yarn balls as projectiles. For one, it fits the theming of the game, and for two, it's a blast shooting down enemies and hidden objects. Yoshi's base moveset is also very satisfying to use as well. The controls are very smooth and snappy. The physics just feel nice, and he has some moves like flutter jump and the ground pound as well. Yoshi's movement in this game is perfectly catered toward the platforming sections. He even has this sort of infinite flutter that you can use if you fall off of a platform. You can't gain any height with it, so it isn't completely broken, but you can maintain the height you fell to, so you can float over to a ledge if there's one nearby. With 2D platformers like this one, you need solid movement, and I feel like Yoshi's Woolly World achieves that flawlessly. The yarn ball aiming mechanic is very similar to the egg throwing in Yoshi's Island, and there are many moments in the level design where it is absolutely necessary to aim precisely. It could be as simple as throwing yarn to reveal platforms, or it can be as difficult as pinpointing the exact location of a question mark cloud to reveal said hidden platform. And while the different puzzles within this game's different levels are very good, I feel as if it relies on the yarn throwing just a little too much. In later levels, you'll find that you'll need to throw yarn seemingly at nothing until a secret question mark reveals itself. Granted, this only occurs in smaller areas, but it still feels kind of lazy. I'm all for actual puzzles utilizing the mechanics, like the statues in the final level of the game for example, but it is used way too much in some instances. Regardless, it is still a very fun mechanic to use, and it is so satisfying to master. The game also features a plethora of stage gimmicks and puzzles. I'm not going to talk about my favorites because we would be here all day, they're all my f***ing favorites, but the developers knew exactly what they wanted to achieve with the puzzles in this game. They perfectly fit into the art style and level design, making them feel right at home with Yoshi's abilities. Major puzzles don't appear on every level, but when they do, it is an absolute joy to play through. I do understand the complaint that a lot of them just eat up the playtime, which again is completely understandable, but I'm a sucker for puzzles in my 2D platformers, so I adore this shit, man. Other than that, the level design just flows so well. You can't necessarily go fast and do some insane speedrunning like you can in the new Super Mario Bros. Games, which could be a turnoff for some people, but this game wants you to just take your time and truly take in the world around you. And if you take your time and explore these levels, then you'll be rewarded greatly. God damn, there are a shit ton of collectibles in this game. When it comes to games like this, I usually like to 100% them. Yeah, this is an exception. There are 3 main collectibles in each level. We have the yarn pieces, which if you collect all 5 of them in a level, you unlock a new Yoshi to play as. This is really the only collectible I cared about getting during my playthrough. You can also get sunflowers, which if you get all 5 in every level in a particular world, you unlock a secret level. And finally, we have the stamps, and this is my main problem with 100%ing this game. For one, you find them pretty randomly by just doing random things like collecting gems in a level, and for 2, there are like 30 of them in each stage. It's just too much. This is why a completionist playthrough of the game takes the average person 3 times the length of a normal playthrough. Some of these collectibles are just found in the weirdest places. So yeah, I didn't really bother. I'm cool with a few star coins per level, but anything else is f***ing crazy. The game features 6 unique worlds with 8 levels apiece, and that is a lot of content, especially considering that some of these levels are as long as 10 minutes in length. The different world environments are eye-catching though. Yes, we have the standard grass, desert, snow, and jungle environments that you see in most platformers, but we also have a world made out of desserts. This was a pretty big surprise when playing this, but I'm all here for it. World 4 was really good too, and I enjoyed the way this game handled the jungle aesthetic, but it's all fun in games until you get to World 6, which is a spooky ghost world. This is fine, but the music is kinda off-putting, not gonna lie. We went from fun, happy, eating my Happy Meal on a Saturday afternoon while watching Ben 10 to I'm scared. World 6 is weird too because the difficulty just ramps up out of nowhere, it seems. It is the final world, so it's understandable, but the other worlds were piss easy, so it just caught me off guard. And I kind of wish they introduced challenging levels earlier in the game, because the levels in World 6 are some of the most well designed in the entire game. We also have a couple of bosses in each world, and is it really shocking to anyone when I say that all of them are pretty damn easy? I mean, come on, given that the rest of this game is pretty simple, I wouldn't really expect much from the boss fights. All of them require you to wait for them to do their attacks, reveal their weak points, and then ground pound their weak points. This is pretty standard for Nintendo's 2D platformers, and I'm not saying this design philosophy is bad by any means, it's just kind of repetitive. But this one little f***er in World 6 was so difficult for me to defeat for some reason. The game doesn't really explain what to do, so I just saw the X thinking, okay, well, I gotta hit that. But no, apparently you need to hit the bullet bill launchers instead, then you can deal damage. Top it off with the fact that his attacks are actually challenging to avoid because, well, it is the final world of the game, and we got ourselves a pretty difficult fight. This was very surprising to me because, again, all of the other fights were fairly simple. Even the Baby Bowser fight at the end of the game wasn't nearly as difficult as this one. All you had to do in that one was just throw yarn at him. Yeah. That's it. I mean, in terms of scale, it was pretty cool, but it was over in a minute. Not necessarily the big climactic fight I was hoping for to end the game, especially when I just played a boss fight that was actually difficult, but that's a hell of a nitpick. The boss fights in this game are still passable. Something that could potentially spice up the boss fights or the game as a whole is the power-up badges. These give Yoshi an extra ability when playing through the levels, and you unlock more of them as you progress through the game. These do things like enhance your speed, give Yoshi big yarn balls, or make it so you can grab anything with your tongue, you know, simple stuff like that. Honestly, while this is cool, it's kinda unnecessary. Every time I hopped into a level and the game asked me what badge I wanted to equip, I was always just like, meh, I'll try this one, I guess. There's not any incentive to use a specific badge in a particular level. They're fun to use, but they're so unnecessary. Some of them could help with getting certain collectibles, but in my case, I didn't give a shit about collectibles during my playthrough, so I couldn't care less about these abilities. Speaking of abilities, sometimes during the levels, you get access to these rainbow door things that give you collectibles. What's cool about these bonus rooms is that they feature completely different gameplay styles for Yoshi. You can be an umbrella Yoshi, a motorcycle Yoshi, an airplane, a mermaid, you can be a giant Yoshi,
double Yoshi explosion
type shit, and my personal favorite, Mole Yoshi. How could you not like this game? Holy shit. But Yoshi's different costumes are one of my favorite parts of this game. I already mentioned how you can get new costumes by collecting the yarn pieces in each level, but you can also hit up the Amiibo hut to get costumes based on characters from other games. You can be a Mario Yoshi, a Donkey Kong Yoshi, a Kirby Yoshi, hell, even a Sonic Yoshi. This is such a cool idea that I wish was implemented in other games. Yeah, you gotta spend like 20 bucks for each costume, but this is a perfect way of implementing Amiibo functionality in the game. game. It doesn't do anything substantial, but the cameos from other franchises are really cool to me. And finally, we have the co-op multiplayer. I played this game for a few hours with my brother as a kid, and it was pretty fun. There isn't really anything else going on besides the fact that you can play the entirety of the game with a second player if you want to. I mean, I would have liked 4-player functionality too, but I understand why it wasn't incorporated. It probably would have been too much to fit on one screen, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah. That's Yoshi's Woolly World. This is simply a forgotten masterpiece of a game, and I wish Nintendo acknowledged its existence. I understand that Crafted World is the Yoshi game on Switch, but that game just didn't live up to the quality of Yoshi's Woolly World. I would love to see a port of this game to the Switch, or even Nintendo's next console, since that's coming up soon as well. But if you have a 3DS or Wii U, I highly recommend giving this game a shot. It's one of the best games Nintendo has released in the last decade, if you ask me. I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. But yeah, guys, that's going to end this video. I want to make more Nintendo content from now on, so expect a lot more Nintendo videos along with my usual Sonic content. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.